Poroshenko said he would not be leaving politics and promised to fight on. Comedian and political newcomer Volodymyr Zelenskyy won with an estimated lead of 45%. Voters focused on the struggling economy. Zelenskyy has promoted talks with Russia to settle the conflict in eastern Ukraine.
Зробили це разом.
We did it together. Thanks to everyone. Now there will be no pathetic speeches. I just want to say thank you.
Ніколи не здавайся. Чую я і зараз.
Never give in. This is what I was told until I saw the exit polls. They are obvious, and they give me the grounds to now call my opponent and congratulate him.
Well, Andrij Dobriansky is the Director of Communications and Media for the Ukrainian Congress Committee of America. He joins us now from New York to talk more about this. So quite a development this in Ukraine, a comedian who is now about to become the next president of the country. What is it that Mr. Zelenskyy was able to capture about the public mood in Ukraine that got him elected over an incumbent and president and seasoned politician in Poroshenko?
Seasoned politician, and I might add a wartime president too, so it's even more surprising. Well, we have another populist victory in the world. We've seen this happen throughout Europe. Even the United States has a populist president now. I think what we heard during the campaign were a lot of promises. As with any populist movement, it's all about what happens after people get into power, when a lot of these promises are going to have to be delivered. For the Zelenskyy campaign, that means he will need to start putting together not only a cabinet of ministers, which we don't even at this point know who he even proposes, but he will need to form a political party. He is such a novice that he's coming in without any party, and that party will need to generate enough votes to win enough seats in the parliament so that the prime minister, which is a completely separate line of power in Ukraine, so that that body can enact some of the reforms he promised. It's going to be a long haul.
You talk there about him being a part of this wave of populism that we've seen sweep across many countries in the world. Does his lack of political experience help or hinder him then?
That's yet to be seen as well. I think his supporters would say that's a breath of fresh air, and I think political veterans will say that they would like to see some experience. We haven't seen, unfortunately, any broad press conferences by this candidate, now president. He did have a brief, maybe 10-minute press conference after the exit polls came in, where he took open questions. And this is the first time we saw an open process like that. And what we saw is a very pugilistic now president. I would again remark on President Trump's penchant to counterpunch, as he says. President Zelenskyy was very able to go after reporters who he thought may have besmirched his record during the campaign. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens going further. There's a great deal of concern with Ukrainian media, journalists having issued a statement prior to the election that both candidates should have made more press conferences. The former president Poroshenko made weekly appearances and daily over the last week to talk to the people of Ukraine. Candidate Zelenskyy only had one television appearance, but again, he hasn't had any press conferences, standing at a podium like any world leader. So this is going to be a test for him. He should have one this month. Let's see how he performs there, and let's see how Western leaders react to his performance.
And we mentioned there that one of the things he wants to do, that he campaigned on, is to reach out to the Russians to settle the conflict in eastern Ukraine. How do you see that playing out, and how are many Ukrainians going to receive that?
Well, to say that he proposed such a thing would be an understatement. You have to understand that a lot of his campaign promises were just that, very short sentences. He proposed doing a major restructuring of the military structure in Ukraine without any explanation about how getting that passed in Parliament. Similarly, he's proposed restarting the Minsk agreement talks, the Normandy process, inviting the United States and the UK into that. However, that doesn't take take into account that Russia, as the other party in mediation, needs to agree to that. Russia is the party in the Minsk process that has violated it, according to the international observers. So to say that he will restart it doesn't take into account that he needs to be dealing with Russia. And does that mean, and this is what people have been asking during the campaign, does that mean he will then travel to Russia and try to do a tete-a-tete with Putin, as Putin's advisor, Mr. Peskov, announced on Friday that Putin is ready to meet with any future Ukrainian leader who is willing to concede on terms?
Good to speak with you, Andrij Dobriansky in New York.